Welcome to yet another episode of Applied Salesforce. In this episode, you will be building a micro project helping upquotient.com, a career amplification and transformer company, to build an approval process solution for their projects. Apart from being a transformer company, upquotient.com does also consulting and implementation work, and all these activities are logged inside a custom project called custom object called projects. And as per the policy of upquotient.com, you are supposed to submit all the projects, okay, for approval. And there are specific use cases where, if the project's expected revenue exceeds 50,000 USD, that needs to be explicitly approved by the manager. So project admins create projects and submit projects for approval, while the project admin's manager, right? So he or she has the authority to look at the insights of the project and then approve it or reject it. And if the expected revenue of the project is less than 50,000 USD, it should be auto approved. Prima facie, all the projects created or edited is subjected to approval, is auto submitted for approvals. Okay, so that's the background. And with that, let's look at some of the key fields. So the expected revenue is one of the fields. It's of type currency. And the next is the approval status. It's a read-only field, and which essentially states the status of the project. And the third one is the start delivery. So this is a checkbox field, and start delivery could only be checked or ticked if the project is approved. And this is indispensable. Starting of the delivery of the project is indispensable to start billing the customer. Okay, so with this background, let's look at the other areas of setup. The object, we have a custom object called project, and some of the key fields is already discussed, like expected revenue and the approval status and start delivery. And apart from that, a validation rule is also created on project's object, which prevents the project to start delivery unless until it is approved. So that's what this validation rule does. And the manager setup is done. So we have two users. One is Shibu, who's a system admin and acts as a manager of Jack Sparrow. Okay, so Jack Sparrow is going to be a project admin creating a project. Okay, and the CRUD on the project object for profile, custom sales profile, which is associated to Jack Sparrow, which Jack Sparrow is aligned to. Okay, so that cred on project object is provided, permission on project object is provided, and the home page is edited to have items to approve component, because this is easy for the managers, to look upon the items to approve, and just click that, and takes you to the approval page layout where he could look at the fields to gain some insight. So it's easy for the managers to either approve or reject the project. And the approval process, obviously, and the page layout, to customize the Salesforce, to the page layout to show the submit for approval button. And in order, as per the policy, all the projects, right, created, edited, should be auto submitted for approval. So we have a process builder to automatically submit the projects for approval. Okay, and at last we'll also discuss about the common errors that you can expect. So with this background, I'll quickly walk you through the solution. Let's look at the fields for the project object. It is linked to accounts and the expected revenue field and the start delivery field. So these are key fields. Or please vital role as far as this micro project is concerned. A couple of users. One is the sysadmin acting as a manager, and second is Jack Sparrow. And Jack Sparrow is his custom sales profile. Inside this custom sales profile, you need to make sure that the project's custom object has you have provided the correct permissions on the custom project object, and the manager field on the user record for Jack Sparrow should be populated with the sysadmin, okay, who acts as the manager. That's one setup. And the next is the validation rule. So that's what you see here on the project object. And yeah, so let's look at the approval process. Let me edit it. I've already created the process. I will walk you through each of those steps. This is the process name and description. Let's look at the next one. So as far as the entry criteria is concerned, so there's absolutely no criteria, because all the projects, right? So all the projects created, edited should be submitted for auto submitted for approval. So this is left as true. There's absolutely no criteria here. And select the user for automated approval routing. So the manager, so Jack Sparrow, I'll be using Jack Sparrow to submit the project, to create the project, and sysadmin becomes the manager, right? So as far as Jack Sparrow's user record is concerned, the manager field is populated with sysadmin. So this means when Jack Sparrow creates a project record, it should automatically be auto submitted for approval, and it should be visible to the sysadmin, because sysadmin is acting as a manager here, okay, for Jack Sparrow. And the next one, the email template, it's optional. I've left it as blank. And these is crucial, because these are the fields that's available as part of the approval page layout, and these fields are visible for the manager during approval. Okay, so the choice of field is important, because this is how your manager gets to know the details about the project and necessary insights. Okay. The next is who can submit. This is also pretty crucial. So typically you will have the error, right? So if you are not the owner and you try to submit the record for approval, this is when you get the typical error. So it would be like no applicable approval process was found. So one of those errors, it is linked to the initial submitter, right? So I say this project owner can only submit. It means, let's say in this scenario, right? So sysadmin's project record, if Jack Sparrow tries to submit, that is when you get this error. Okay, that's one such occasion where you could we can expect the error. Okay, so I leave it as it is. Project owner is the one who can submit now. Okay, so the initial framework of the approval process is done. Let's look at the initial submission actions. So there are a couple of actions here. The first is the default record log. So once a project record is submitted for approval, it gets logged, right? And you have a choice there who can edit the records that's submitted for approval. So typically the admin or the approver. Okay, and the second is the field update. So once the project record is submitted for approval, I wanted the approval status to be set to pending. Okay, so it means that any project with pending approval status, it means that it is under approval, right? So it's being evaluated. The project is being studied, and it's neither approved nor rejected yet. And that's the initial submission actions. And if you look at the approval steps, right, so we can have multi-step approval process. So to make it simple, we are just looking at a single step approval process. And let me walk you through the critical step in this wizard. So one is, the specify the step criteria. So if there is any criteria that you want to specify for the process to enter, right? So that's where you can specify, right? So one is all records could enter the step. That's one choice. The second choice is, you can, since there is a possibility of having more than one step in the approval process or multi-step approval process, each step, if the process needs to enter each of the steps, you can have varied criteria. Okay, so as far as this is concerned, our business requirement is concerned, the scenario is concerned, we would like to subject the project records exceeding USD 50,000 for approval, right? So all others, meaning anything which is less than 50,000 USD, would be auto approved. So that is what this step does, right? This criteria does. So criteria met, enter this approval, else the record gets approved, right? So let's look at the other step. So automatically assign users using the user field selected earlier. So this is the first step, who would be the approver, whereas the manager is going to be the approver for this step. And so this is done. So and the final approval actions and rejection actions. So either, and when this gets submitted for approval, right? So we have a choice: either it gets approved or gets rejected. So you need to define the final approval actions and rejection actions. And obviously, if it gets approved, you wanted to keep the record locked. So no edit. You don't want to allow edit on the records, project records which are already approved. That's where the policy. So you can still unlock it if you want. So if your policy is set that way. Okay. And a couple of field update actions. So here, set the start delivery equals true. So once it is approved, the start delivery checkbox is checked, and the field update on the project status, right? Approval status is approved. And similarly, for the rejection action, I wanted to unlock the record because the project admin has some work on that project. So he has to edit. Probably the manager would say that the expected revenue is less, or the start date, end date of the project is not feasible, etc. So there is it warrants edit to the record, so it gets unlocked. So I wanted to unlock the record upon rejection. And a couple of field updates similar to the approval actions. Project rejected, that's the status that gets updated, rejected status. And the other one is uncheck the delivery, start delivery checkbox. Okay, so this sums up our approval process, creation and the steps, the initial submission action and approval steps, including the final approval actions and rejection actions. Now let's look at the process builder. As far as this process builder is concerned, it's pretty simple, straightforward. All you're trying to do is, invoke this process. Okay, so every time the record gets created or edited. Okay, so let's check this. And the immediate action, one of the immediate actions, obviously it's submit for approval. So this is a project object. It's monitoring the project object. Second is auto submit all projects for approval. So there's absolutely no criteria required here. And the immediate action, one of the immediate actions, it's just the action, right? So immediate action. So I've chosen the approval process, and who's submitting, the current user, logged in user is submitting, and some comments, right? So for the approval. Okay, so this sums up our entire setting, and let's look at the user. So let me log in as Jack Sparrow. So obviously Jack Sparrow, I will show you how he creates a record and how automatically it gets submitted for approval. So let me open up projects. Okay, click new. Let's say Edge for Edge com solution design. Start date probably on 20th. End date on 30th. Activity is going to be solution design. Okay, and expected revenue, let's say that about 12K. And this is Edge communication. Okay, all set. So if I say this, okay, I will first show you how, so this is less than 50,000 USD. So obviously means that it has to be auto approved. So approval status, right? So let's check that out. And it's done, it's saved, and you could see the status is approved, and you could see the approval history, submitted and approved. Okay, so now let's create one more project and let it exceed 50,000 USD. So project is for Edge communication. That's going to be, fleet services, lightning design, solution design. Okay, it starts on 22nd, probably 5th. It's going to be design, Edge communications. Expected revenue, I say 60,000 USD. Okay, and I click on save. So this is when it, requires explicit approval from the manager, and you could see this approval status as pending. Okay, so let me log off as Jack Sparrow. Now I am into the admin. I'm as a manager. So Jack Sparrow's sysadmin is Jack Sparrow's manager. So let's see if the sysadmin can view the approval request. Okay, so we could see this items to approve, right? So let me check if FSL, Field Services Lightning Solution Design, and the approval page layout shows up, and the manager could see the fields, its values, what the record is all about, why the approval is sought, etc. And he looks at the the company. Okay, so he knows about this company. We had done multiple projects, not a problem, and the expected revenue is in line with the activities that we do. So he could say that yes, it is approved, and say fantastic customer. Approved. Okay, so that's one. And let me now log in as Jack Sparrow. Just look at the status of the request. That's one. And second scenario is, Jack Sparrow creates a project record and it submits and it automatically gets submitted for approval. And now he rejects. Okay, now the manager sysadmin rejects it. So let's check it out. So projects. So this is the project. Let's look at the status here. So the status is approved now. So let me create one more project. So this is again for Edge, or we can put it for opportunity builders. It's marketing automation, design, solution design, and 30th, 5th. Let's say this is 52 USD. Confident builders, same. So since it is above 50,000 USD, this gets auto submitted, and as per the criteria for the step one, right? So if it is more than 50,000 USD, it has to be, explicitly approved or rejected by the manager. So here, Jack Sparrows manages the sysadmin. So let's look at the system administrator, so the manager, and let's check if the status of the approval request. Okay, you could see here this another place where you can check this notification. So one is using the components, right? Items to approve components. The second one is the notification. You could see this confident builders, marketing automation design. So this time the manager is going to approve because this little the customer is little demanding. So and the 52K might not be enough. Okay, so the manager jots down her comments. Confident builders demanding. Okay, pump up the revenue. Pump up the revenue. Also work on the headlines. Okay. Okay. Once done, we must submit for approval. So currently rejected. So let me now log in as Jack Sparrow, and so Jack Sparrow, right? So he's a little eager to start the billing, right? So this is where our validation rule comes into play. Okay, so as per the policy, you will not, as per the policy, you will not be able to start the billing unless the project gets approved. Is it not? Right. So let's check this. Jack Sparrow logged in as Jack Sparrow now, and Jack Sparrow tries to set the start delivery checkbox. Okay, so let me just a moment. Okay, so now we are logged in as Jack Sparrow, and the Confident Builders, the marketing automation design is the project that was submitted by Jack Sparrow. So it got rejected, right, because of certain reasons that Jack Sparrow can check. So submitted and it is rejected. Okay, so now Jack Sparrow's little, he tries to break the policy. So the policy is enforced, but Jack Sparrow had no clue to it. So he wanted to start the billing, maybe because he would have thought that while I work with the customer to correct this, let the process to kickstart billing commence. So what he does is he tries to check the start delivery while the status of the project is still rejected. Okay, so he tries to save this. So you hit as snag, right? It says delivery can only start after project approval. Okay, that's just a simple use case for the validation rule that you have written. And now what he does is probably he changes the start date, the end date. Okay, so he negotiated hard probably and have this as 7th and he was able to slightly bump it up to 57,000 USD. Okay. And he saves this. Okay, and now it got automatically submitted for approval. You could see it's still pending. Okay, so now again, I log off as Jack Sparrow, and the admin, his manager, would have visibility to the updated project record. Okay, so let's check this out now. So now it is 57,000 USD. So Jack Sparrow's manager takes a look at the project record, okay, and now he believes that this is feasible. The timeline have a couple of more days, and you have bumped it up with 5,000 USD. So this could be possible. So he approves this. Says looks good. Good luck. Approved. Okay, cool. So I would also like to show you, if possible, let me try showing you one of the cases where you can encounter an error. Okay, so let me navigate to projects and all projects. So let me pick up one by the admin, by the manager, and let's say this owned by the admin. So let me check, and I explicitly try to submit for approval. Let's say, can you look at the users and approve? Okay. Submit it. This is where you find this no applicable approval process was found. Okay, so one such instance, because as per the approval process definition, the person who can submit should be the project owner, right? So here the project owner is the admin, the manager, but Jack Sparrow is trying to submit this record. It could have happened inadvertently. He would have picked up this record and submitted it. Okay, this is one such case where you can have this error. The other one is pertaining to the entry criteria. So there is the entry criteria doesn't match, still try to force it for submission. You will have this type of error, these two. Okay, and yeah, so that's pretty much it. So it sums up the micro project, the completion of micro project. So let me reiterate a few things. So as far as the micro project is concerned, the criteria, the initial criteria is we haven't given anything. It's like empty criteria, and we had one step approval process, and to enter that step, we had the criteria. Which is any project which is above 50,000 USD on the expected revenue should enter it, and the manager has to explicitly approve or reject it. So if the expected revenue for a project is less than 50,000 USD, it gets auto approved. Okay, and the project record has to be auto submitted, right, for approval. So that's again done with the help of the approval process. And the validation rule prevents, that's an additional behavior that was that was asked by UpQuotient, so that the project admins, either with a purpose or inadvertently, not check the start delivery without the project being approved. Okay, so these are the few picks, and we also I also demonstrated the errors. One of the situations where you could get the error, no applicable approval process was found. Okay, so that's it for this micro project and for this episode, and thank you for watching.